Good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to another episode of Karina Life. My name is Karina Mujati, your favorite comrade sister. And in this episode today, we are just going to talk about what is currently happening in Zimbabwe. I have heard so many people who works within the civil aviation, who works within the National Handling Services, which is known as Air Zimbabwe. As you know, my previous background is in civil aviation. I used to work for the civil aviation when I was in Zimbabwe. And I have had lots of people, some even passengers who've been traveling to Zimbabwe and out of Zimbabwe. They've equally contacted me to ask me about my understanding of what they have seen at the airport. Most of these contents started coming out last year when I covered about the gold mafia, and when I spoke about what I know how the security system at the airport works in Zimbabwe. So today in this episode, I am going to cover some of those concerns from those people within the airports working within the Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe, who are working within Air Zimbabwe or the National Handling Services at different airports in Zimbabwe. So this is what I'm going to cover. It is so concerning. When I started working for civil aviation, it was just transferring that transitional period from Department of Civil Aviation. That's how it used to be called, Department of Civil Aviation. And then it transitioned to Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe. It transitioned from Department of Aviation to, I think then it was Godfrey Manambara before he went to Air Zimbabwe, I think so. Then it was Karikoga Kaseke, Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe, which is known in abbreviations as CAAZ, and that's how we call it CAZ, the Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe. And then some people will be confused why I'm saying National Handling Service. As you know what happened when they were trying to transform Air Zimbabwe, it became National Handling Service because they were catering to do the check-in and other duties for other airlines. So that's why it's called National Handling Service, which is a subsidiary of Air Zimbabwe. So my concern is that I've heard people who are working within the civil aviation, in management, or in lower ranks, they are equally contacting me and it's so funny because I asked them, why are you confused? Because these questions you are now asking me, you are the ones working within the organization and you should be asking. Because all these changes affects and impacts on your pensions and your earnings. So you should be asking. We know ourselves as Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe. But now we are seeing that at the airport is written Airports Company of Zimbabwe. Airports, not airports. Airports Company of Zimbabwe, in brackets, private limited. My question here is, can someone tell us within the Ministry of Transport, the Board of Directors for Civil Aviation, can you tell us how did this come out to be that Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe is now a Airports Company of Zimbabwe Private Limited? And I'm asking because it says airports. How many airports are now under these Airports Companies of Zimbabwe? Because as far as I am concerned, when I worked at CARS, all the airports and aerodromes were under, in short, they belonged to the people of Zimbabwe. They were national wealth. That's why it was said Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe, which was run by the government of Zimbabwe with the taxpayers' money. And the people of Zimbabwe owned the airports. So now tell me, How did we come now here to say that it is called Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe? And then it's now written Airports Companies of Zimbabwe, Private Limited. And who is this private limited? Because as far as I'm concerned, I never saw anything gazetted in the newspapers for the public of Zimbabwe to have a say, because the airports belonged to them. The airports, in short, what I'm trying to say is, ma airport edu nema aerodromes ese emu Zimbabwe. Kune avo vakaita zve aviation kana kuti vanoziva zvendege. Ma airports edu dzinonzi nhandara dzedu dzendege netumwe tuya tunonzi tuma aerodromes hupfumi hwevanhu vemuZimbabwe. Saka if it is the people of Zimbabwe's wealth, how did we come up now to say that our airport is written Airports Companies of Zimbabwe? And the other question I would like to ask as well, because these are the things I'm asking. Airports are public assets. They are public assets. As far as I worked in cars, they were public assets run by the government of Zimbabwe. So now tell me, in 2024, I am being bombarded by passengers who are woke, who know what's happening. I'm being bombarded by some people who work within aviation, Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe, to say, comrade sister, what is happening here? If they were privatized, can we be told who is the owner of these new airports? Because the airports of Zimbabwe belong to the people of Zimbabwe. Even if they were going to be sold, why were they sold? In whose best interest? Who was consulted? We need to understand all these things, people, because we cannot have a nation being run like a tuck shop, like a shebeen. It's a one-man's band. We need to know the board of directors of civil aviation. We know. Yes, we know. Some of us, we know that civil aviation is one place which is infested by one tribe. And I will have to say this. So now we need to know, because we cannot be sleeping once the nation is being ripped apart by one person. The airports of Zimbabwe is national wealth. Where was it gazetted? Who was consulted? What the people of Zimbabwe say? And you, Zimbabwe, these are the issues we should be talking about. We should be concentrating on these stepmother issues of days, and whatever. We should be focusing on these issues. These are national issues, because if they start taking our airports to one person, there are no jobs creation. It's now a family-run thing. We need to understand what is going on. And some of those people, what you're asking me is that, yes, because my point is that, like, to say, how did we get there? Who was consulted? By who? Which people? Why were the airports sold? It's just like some people in Zimbabwe being told that the extension of stupid steel and whatever cheaply done, and you are being confused with that, with those cheaply shiny porcelain tiles, and then you'll be saying 200 million for that. And then this family will be telling you 200 million. That money, they say it's coming from the Chinese, and they want to pocket that money. And you are not questioning all that. They are running their own plane. Our own Air Zimbabwe is grounded. It's not doing. And them, they've got how many flights a day between Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Victoria Falls. And why is Air Zimbabwe failing to do that? We need to know what is happening. Yes, Mkanya Chiwenga, you put us in this shit, and all your comrades who supported this shit of Emerson Mnangagwa. We need to understand, because the companies which belong, national wealth cannot be just be sold left, right, and center, being ripped by Emerson Mnangagwa. Does the airports of Zimbabwe also now belong to this crazy Mutapa fund? And who does that crazy Mutapa fund belong to? And who was consulted about that crazy Mutapa fund? We need to know which airports have been taken, have been looted from the people of Zimbabwe. And those airports must be taken back Because if it's Emma, is it the reason why now Emma Sodambuzo Mnangagwa has put his portrait on the entrance? What is the airport is written Robert Gabriel Mugabe? He puts his own picture there because he's trying to justify that he owns the airport. No, it can never be allowed. It can never be allowed. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We cannot keep on living in diaspora. Whilst the one man is doing a one-man show, as if Zimbabwe belongs to only him and himself. If he wants to loot and everything, he built a school in Zambia. You should go and loot in Zambia because that's where he's putting money where he is looting from Zimbabwe. Enough of this nonsense. Enough of this nonsense. I have to ask you this question about the airports. What's happening? Who is now owning our airports? And the people of Zimbabwe, they were never consulted. Why? And we need to know the owner of those airports because it should be in the public interest. Because the airports were the airports were public assets. So we should be told who now owns our airport. How can we have a saying Airports Company of Zimbabwe, and then on the other side they say Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe? And you two people who work for civil aviation, you don't even ask it. That's why some of you walked away during bad times when we were not given good pensions because of this kind of corruption and looting. That's why you work hard and then you walk away with you empty-handed. We need to know who is behind the Airports of Zimbabwe, private, limited. Hey, Emmerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa, shameless thief, shameless thief. This is too much. Now he's talking about putting a state-of-the-art Mbare Musika. Where? And then you wonder, where are these people of the clan of Mbare, Chief Mbare? Some people, you don't know the history of why it's called Mbare. It was named after the chief of the people who used it to settle around that area. That's why it's called Mbare. And Mbare, they had a chief called Mbare. And I think they belong to the Shumba Gurundoro clan. Why are you not saying anything? If you want to put a state-of-the-art market, you want to put a state-of-the-art market in the middle of poverty, in the middle of sewage, in the middle of those single men's hostels, Matapi, Matererini, Mapitcoat, all infested with poo. No flashing water, nothing, and you are talking of a state-of-the-art market. And what about all those sheikhs roaming about because you want to loot from the poor? It can never be allowed. People of Zimbabwe, you must stand up. It can never be allowed. You build state-of-the-art hostels, which you have been promising people since 2018, and you have failed to build anything. Not a state-of-the-art. People, you must go and drop your Mapuranga stores and continue. You say people in market, they are making money. You are concerned that the poor working class in Mbare are doing money laundering. Are your children not flooding the markets in Harare and Blawai everywhere with money laundering? Don't they have runners and they are known that it's your children? Emmerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa. Is Kuda Mnangagwa not one person who does money laundering, who does money changing? So why are you bothered about the working class if they are making money at Mbare Musika? Enough of your evil. People of Zimbabwe, you must wake up and stand up to this bully. And whilst you're closing on this, if you want to be taken serious before your state-of-the-art, build those hostels you promised people in 2018 that you're going to build them, a state-of-the-art houses. Remove all the sheikhs from Mbare, build more housing, develop Mbare. And Mbare defines the working class people of Zimbabwe. Mbare defines the political struggle of Zimbabwe. So don't try to change the face of Africa, of Mbare. People come to Zimbabwe visiting Mbare because they want to see that rawness of Mbare. That's what they want to see. They don't want to come and see a Chinese-made Hong Kong, a state-of-the-art vegetable market. People want to travel from here or from wherever they are coming to Zimbabwe to see Mbare Musika in its rawness. The best advice you can do, build those people in Mbare housing, better housing, improve their lifestyles, put water and remove all the sheikhs. You want to talk of state-of-the-art market because you know you are going to collect money. You want to wipe all the money from the Zimbabweans. Why don't you go and build a state-of-the-art Rufaro Stadium? Now you don't even have stadiums in Zimbabwe. You are going like stupid, a country full of wealth, platinum, everything. You're going to neighboring countries to use their stadium, football stadium. You are a very senseless, a very, very senseless doofus of a person, Emerson Mnangagwa, a state-of-the-art market. You want to wipe out all the money from the poor. Build a state-of-the-art stadium and serve as the embarrassment of our football teams going to neighboring countries and being a laughing stock of the world. Before you start talking of state-of-the-art vegetable market, leave it in its rawness. It defines the struggle of the working class in Zimbabwe. It defines everything. Do you think people from England or from wherever wants to come and see a state-of-the-art Chinese designed market? No. Build people houses. If you want to be taken seriously, build people in Bali better facilities. Why can't you go and build state-of-the-art housing for the police station there at the corner there? Why can't you build a state-of-the-art ZBC? Why can't you build a state-of-the-art Rufaro Stadium? Please, Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa, your greediness is suffocating the people of Zimbabwe. You are a bloody leeching scumbag. Whilst on this, I don't know this rumor which is going on about Sengezo Chabangu, that he has been poisoned by this Emerson Mnangagwa. If it is true, forgiveness is for God. As for us people, we are humans. And if you don't know that, me, don't come here and tell us I'm a Christian. Me, I'm not a Christian. And me, I'm just a person. So, don't come here and say we should forgive. Forgiveness is up there. Because we've been forgiving Emerson Mnangagwa, that's this dirty doesn't destroying our country. That's why we are in this mess. If you want to forgive people, looters and evil people, do it at your own will. But don't come and tell me that, oh, you can't say that, oh, you can't say that. I will say it. Dear Sengezo Chabangu, if it is true, what I've just said today, if it is true, my dear Sengezo Chabangu, today I didn't even put on my earrings. Sengezo Chabangu, if what I've just said is true, hey, I will say welcome to reality. A sellout will be a sellout. And the sellouts shall be identified as one. And you sold the struggle. And if it is true that Chabangu, you have been poisoned, hey, who will say, I'll tell you this, my dear, you have been swallowed. Who do you blame? Not us. We warned you. You were even threatening people, firing people, putting your stooges who say to ED, fefe. If they've poisoned you like what is in the media, my dear, no sympathy from you. Me, I'm for the people. I'm not for any politician, any dirty, corrupt politician. No. Chabangu, if it's true that they've poisoned you, I hope you will not suffer like what we are seeing with Thokozani Kupe. That now I need to go shura murove yakamira pandove Thokozani Kupe kude pamtsipa. Kuchonge shura murove yakamira pandove. And she remember she used to brag as well, like you, Sengezo Chabangu. Hey, and you're from Matebeleland as well, used by ED against the people. You were used by ED, and now they said that you've been poisoned. Thokozani Kupe used to say she was in politics for money, and now she's like, you know, that stock bed standing on top of a feces. Shuramurove yakamira pandori. Don't utongi Thokozani Kupe. My dear, if it is true, at least they've given the poison to you. How many people, only you person, you've taken poison? How many people since last year, 2023 to today, have died because you decided to side with the devil of the nation, ED? You decided to endorse a person you know is not fit for purpose. How many people have been killed by EDs, children's drugs flooding the streets of our ghettos? How many children have been destroyed their future because of Emerson Mnangagwa's family flooding drugs? Children, they don't go to school. There is a high rate of pregnancies in young children, young girls. How many fathers have lost a livelihood, no jobs, nothing, because of you, Chengezo Shabangu? If they poisoned you, my dear, you deserve it. Welcome to the real politics of the deadly Emerson Mnangagwa, the cold-blooded killer of Zimbabwe. Welcome to it. If they poisoned you, Chabangu, I will never take back my words. You deserve what you get. And I hope you find inner peace to deal with it. The same way they've poisoned you, if it's true, that's the same way you have snatched millions of Zimbabwe's potential. You have snatched the people of Zimbabwe their opportunity to realize their full potential. You have snatched the possibility of Zimbabweans to realize their capabilities. You have stripped the Zimbabweans of their own human rights, their right to choice, their right to make their own informed decisions because of your love for money and power. So Chengezo Chabangu, if they poisoned you, maybe the gods of Zimbabwe are starting to wake up. To deal with the thugs who support ED one by one. My dear, I hope they did not give you that one, because they say ED is a Russian poison master. I hope they didn't give you polonium-210, because if they gave you that one, then it's fast track highway. And I hope when it's fast track highway, if you are shipping out, yeah, my dear, I hope you have peace, because you destroyed many people's lives. And I hope some of your thugs, they are seeing and they are learning. But if they are not learning, then whatever befalls all of you who are working with Emerson Mnangagwa from the opposition, you deserve it. You deserve it. And there's no sympathy from me when we hear the news. We will play the drum and we will tell the whole village like what I'm doing now, so that people can be merry and jolly to say one problem out. Good riddance. That's what I have to tell you. And on this note, Emerson Mnangagwa and Auxilia Mnangagwa, I dare you, Kuti, if you are not ritualists who sacrificed those people at Mbare Musikas during Inferno, can you visit the place? I dare you, visit the place. If it's Miko Zenyu Zoguti, Magacheke, visit Mbare. If not, bloody shameless ritualist. But remember, every dog has got its day. Your day will come, and it surely will come, and Zimbabweans will rejoice, and there will be no mercy for you. You don't respect other people's lives. Why should we respect your life? Why should we respect you? Nobody voted you. You wrestled power, and you are still looting our country. Every dog is got its day. Emerson Mnangagwa, Auxilia Mnangagwa, your anchors like Opam Shinguri, all the evil people anchoring your regime of evil, killing our innocent people of Zimbabwe through hunger, by looting and everything. You shall have your day, and that day will come. Like I said, every dog is got its day, and surely yours will come. So Zimbabwe, thank you very much for tuning in on this episode, and thank you for the following, and keep sharing, keep sharing, keep sharing. Remember, Comrade Sister is always here, and we need to keep the awareness going. I myself am here to provoke your mind so that you start seeing things from the other way. We should be citizens who question what is happening around our country. We should love our Zimbabwe. We should question. We should question. We should be responsible citizens. So Zimbabwe, Have a lovely evening and a very good night. And to all my followers around the globe, thank you very much. And a pleasant evening and a very good evening to you. A very good night. Thank you.